So in today's video, we're doing something a little bit different. Normally, we do things all about Guernsey and what it's like to move from the UK to Guernsey. We're doing something quite interesting. We're doing opposite today. We've got my friend here, Sean, today. And the reason he's here, because we're going to ask him and speak to him and have a first-hand idea what it's actually like to live in Guernsey and born in Guernsey and move to the UK to live, which is exactly what Sean's done. So Sean actually lives in Edinburgh, but he lived in Guernsey for a long time, he was born here. And in today's video, I just wanted to get out of this the difference that you may be looking at if you're from an island and you go to live in the UK, and the big differences Sean felt from island life to living in Edinburgh. So really, I just want to ask Sean first of all, why did you initially leave Guernsey? Well, you were born in Guernsey.
Yep.
And just tell us a little bit about how long you were here for before you left.
Yeah, so I was 21 when I left Guernsey initially to go to university. So I went to university in a couple of places in England. So yeah, I initially left Guernsey to go to England, was in one place in England for 3 years, then went somewhere else for a year, and after that I went up to Scotland.
So you were born here.
Yep.
When you actually decided to leave, what were your biggest concerns about moving from Guernsey to UK? Well, what do you think they were going to be?
I suppose the main thing is obviously Guernsey, with it being a small island, you know, you get to know the majority. I suppose it feels like anyway, you know, the majority of people.
Yeah.
And you get into a certain way of life that is very, very, very much a routine. And it's a small island mentality and a small island lifestyle. So obviously my biggest concern, I think, was going to what we call the mainland.
Yeah,
you know?
we do. Yeah.
And obviously the sort of the change in lifestyle that might bring along. And obviously going on my own as well, not knowing anybody and having to develop all those kind of friendships again were the bigger things. But I suppose that's the case no matter where you move to.
Yeah.
So I suppose it was mainly, as I say, just moving from island life to the big mainland life and what that might mean. But it was hard to know what it would feel like or what the difference would be, because again, I was going to go to university, so I wasn't going like to start, you know, working in a job or a career or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was the whole university life as well. So
when you actually left Guernsey and you landed in the mainland,
parachuted in.
What was the first thing you noticed which you thought to yourself, you don't get this in Guernsey?
First thing, this is over 20 years ago now, so the first thing
you sort of
would have
thought,
been, to be honest, it would have been going on the train.
Yeah.
You know? Because I would have flown into London and then got the train up to where I was going to university. So yeah, I think that's probably the first time in over 10 years that I've been on a train. So that was one thing. And of course, it sounds silly, but it's like working out how it all works, you know?
Yeah.
Literally getting a ticket, getting the right ticket, learning the difference between the different tickets you can get, going on the train, you know, getting off at the right station. It still sounds really silly now, but you just don't do those things.
Well, here in Guernsey, we don't have any trains.
No, you got the Sunray Manor train.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same. When I go to the UK, I haven't got a clue about the trains because it's completely alien to me using the underground and all that sort of thing, and I'm completely lost. And everyone seems to know what they're doing, but I just wasn't brought up with it because we have no trains here in Guernsey. So it's a bit of a different world.
Yeah.
So when you actually settled down, you were in university, weren't you?
Yeah.
Was there a point that you started missing anything about Guernsey? Like, did you miss being around the sea, for example, or did you miss anything at all?
Yeah. I suppose, you know, because where I went to university was quite central in the country. So again, it's realising that you can't just, you know, in 5 minutes you can't be at the seaside, you can't be at the beach or whatever.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of a surprise. Well, not a surprise because I knew that was going to be the case, but it's a bit weird when you find yourself in that situation. But then also, you know, there were so many other things that I could do, all of a sudden I could be in central London in half an hour, for example, and literally go to London for the day and then go back home that evening. And so things like that almost overrode the missing things in Guernsey, because there were so many other things to explore, I suppose. But I suppose again it was just the shock of the change in life. The fact that all of a sudden things were open much later than I was used to, and they were open on Sundays, and that blew me away. The fact that not everything's shut on a Sunday,
which is just explained to people in Guernsey. Things, I mean, years ago you couldn't buy fuel on a Sunday. You couldn't fill your car with petrol, and a lot of things do close on Sundays here, but they're not really in the UK.
But and that sounds like it's something that I wasn't missing about Guernsey, but then I was missing it in a way, because again it was just a different life, a different way of life, and it was it's not necessarily a good thing that things are always open and that you can always do so much, because then it makes your life go at a real fast pace, and sometimes you don't stop and sort of appreciate things. You know what I mean?
So, looking at the other way. Knowing what you know now, if someone's watching this and they're thinking of relocating to Guernsey, so they may live somewhere in the UK and they're thinking about coming to live in Guernsey, so you know both sides of it really.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to them, as in things to look out for, or things that may be completely different for them that you would tell them about? So would it be that, they're going to realise that all of a sudden they're going to feel very confined here? Have you got any advice for them?
I think that maybe is one of the big things, is that I notice that now, because obviously I still come back here to Guernsey routinely, because I'm from here and I've got friends and family here.
Yeah.
And I have felt over the years that every time I come back, I do feel this sense of being quite confined, because, you're on a small island all of a sudden, and if you want to go somewhere else, there's a lot more planning that's involved, because you've got to get a boat or a flight or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's costs associated with that, and there's limitations associated with it. So I do feel that sense of confinement a little bit, and it takes me a little bit of time to sort of adapt to it again once I'm back in Guernsey.
And that's even though you're from here originally, you still feel that.
Yeah, I think so.
You got used to the open space.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, you get used to being able to move around a bit more freely in terms of going distances. And obviously living now just outside of Edinburgh, I can be in the centre of Edinburgh, which is like a world famous city. So I suppose you feel that sense of freedom, because you can be in the middle of a world famous city in like 10 minutes.
So it sounds like if you do come here to live, get ready for, not being able to travel somewhere for the day in a car. Yeah. But
also, I think I feel that sense of confinement a little bit, because I'm not like embedded in the life of Guernsey anymore. Do you know what I mean? I don't have like community kind of networks, or I'm not involved in the community because I'm not here enough to be involved in it. So I think if you are going to move here, getting involved in that is going to really help, because then you might not feel that it's not isolation, but you might not it might help you to adjust to feeling like, adjust to living in an island, basically, if you get involved in the life.
Because I suppose it can be quite lonely in a way, moving here, not knowing anyone.
But I mean, I suppose that's the same anywhere. But again, the loneliness aligned with if you do feel that sense of confinement, if you're used to living in a larger area, then you can help yourself by being willing to get involved in Guernsey life, and then feeling like you're part of the island rather than you just turned up. Yeah,
and activities wise, if you're into, say for example, you live in the UK and you got leisure centres and you got all this thing, what would you say the difference is there in Guernsey? Would you say we offer the same as the UK for sports and things, or would you say we're a lot more limited here, or are you more limited in the UK?
I'd say one of the good things that Guernsey does is the access to like sport facilities, because obviously you've got a number of different indoor places in Guernsey, even for a small island, like leisure centres and gyms and things. But you've also got all the outdoor stuff that Guernsey has. You've got the beaches right there, the sea right there, the cliffs right there. So if you're interested in any kind of sport that involves any of that, it's right there. Whereas again, if you were to compare that to say where I am now in Scotland, I do mountain biking, for example, and even though I'm really lucky that I've got some good hills and things right near my house, if I want to go to a proper mountain bike centre, I've got to put the bike in a car and drive for about half an hour to get there.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that Guernsey does do really well, and that, you know, you've got all the natural things in Guernsey that you can maximise as well, whereas you might only have one of those things on the mainland because it's just much more spread out.
Yeah, and what about things like shops? So if the local towns, so the capital of Guernsey is St Peter Port. Obviously in Edinburgh, massive. What should people expect if they come from a city and all of a sudden they decide to go shopping in St Peter Port?
Well, this is going to be one of the things where I'm not going to be very positive about Guernsey, unfortunately. But even when the town was at its peak when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I got to admit, every time I come over, I see it's declined a little bit more. And I think that's a real shame. And even like the Guernsey's never been one for big national brands, you know, and chain shops and stuff, and that's all right because they had like a lot of local industries that sold through the shops in town, but a lot of that's gone now as well. So I am really quite sad to see the way that the town has gone down a bit, and also the availability that people have, you know, to shop and get access to things is nowhere near as good as it used to be. So I think that's something that unfortunately people might not find very, very good, especially when you're used to the availability, you know, the wider availability of things.
Yeah, there has been a lot of shops disappear in town. Yeah. There's a lot of shops up for let.
Yeah,
at the moment.
It's quite sad to see actually, because it's such a pretty town.
So that'd be quite a big one then.
Yeah, that would be a big thing, I think, and a lot of online shopping and stuff like that, you know, which is a shame.
Yeah, I know town isn't. Yeah, I think that'd be a big one for people.
Like I say, it's a beautiful town, but what's in it is just not really that good at the minute. Hopefully it's going to change.
Yeah. So to sum up in general, 3 points to look out for. So if you are moving, so we'll flip it back to if you're moving from Guernsey to the UK, what would be your top 3 points to consider if you're moving from Guernsey to the UK? Like you did, what your top 3 things you say?
Moving from Guernsey to the UK. Top 3 things moving from Guernsey, I would say, is you are going to have a lot more opportunity to get involved in different things and explore different interests, because that's one of the things that I've found the most. I do a lot of things now that I couldn't really do that well in Guernsey. You're going to be, job-wise and career-wise, there's a lot more options. That's the main reason I don't live in Guernsey anymore, is I couldn't do the job I do in Guernsey. Yeah. So I think you're open to a lot more things. But, you know, Guernsey's got a unique way of life that is really positive and a great thing, and you don't find that anywhere else. Yeah. So you will miss that to some extent. Yeah. Yeah. It's whether you can balance it out with the other things that you will be able to do. Yeah.
Right, summed it up nicely. So remember, if you like the stuff on the channel, you want to see more stuff about Guernsey and find out about what it's like living the island, remember to give it a thumbs up if you thought this channel was of any use at all. I hope it was. Remember to subscribe if you want to see more stuff. And by the way, Sean has got his own YouTube channel, which is called
Sport and Exercise Scientist.
So if you're into that sort of stuff, go over and have a look. If you're not, still go and have a look. I'm sure you'll find it interesting. Until next time, take care. See you again soon. Okay, are we looking good? Okay. I don't know how to do this. Right. I've got the giggles. I never normally do. I'm normally one take. It's because you're here. I know that's it.
I'm doing it.
I know that's right. What's that? Eh?
The cat scratch.
Okay.
Papers.
Okay, 3.
Say something.
Okay, ready? We're
Yeah.
going for it.
Yeah. That stinks.
Okay. Go. Okay, ready?
Oh, I'm just gonna wake up soon.
Professionalism. Come on. I'm ready.
We'll keep it as outtakes. Right. Okay. And just tell us a little bit about how long you were here for before you left.
I was 21 when I left. Do I look at you or them?
Just look at me.
Look at you. That might make it harder.
Or just
I'll
look
do
at
a bit of
do a
both.
mixture.
Yeah, I was 20. Action. I was 21 when I left Guernsey initially, and I left because action. I was 21 when I left Guernsey initially, and I left to go to university. So I was, I went to England initially. See, I can't look at you. Is that right though?
That's fine.
Right. Yeah, so I went.
Hang on. God, I was fine till he went. Right. So what did I ask you initially? What was?
I can't remember. When did you leave? When did I?
How long in Guernsey were you left?
Yeah.
If you're moving from Guernsey to the UK, like you did, what your top 3 things you say?
Moving from Guernsey
Yeah.
to the UK.
Yeah. I'll wrap it up.
We make a joke about it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a baby crying again.
Top 3 things I would say. One, you have got more opportunity overall. You know, to get involved in different things, and take up different hobbies. Do you think that's going to work?